Hey everyone, welcome back to the Homestead. I am Nadine. I am heading back to the Rabbitry to show you where we left off and what we got done since then, and kind of show you what still needs done on it. Let's go. So in the last video, you guys saw us putting the roof on our Rabbitry. That is done. I still had the other side to paint. And so let me show you kind of what we have done so far. So here is the Rabbitry. It is completely under roof now, and I got the second side completely painted. Bunnies are all settling in nicely. I also finished their hay feeders and got the other two feeders attached, so everybody has a proper feeder and a hay feeder as well. We got the waterer all hooked up, and everything is just turned out really, really nice. I am loving it back here, and the bunnies are enjoying it as well, it seems. They're staying dry and shaded for most of the day. There are some things that we still need to do. I still have to build 4 cages for over here. I'm just going to start with 2, and then I'll finish those 2 another time. But the main goal right now is to get Duke, which is... Duke's down here. Hi, Dukey boy. Hi. Hey, sweet boy. So the goal is to get Duke and Duchess, who's over in that hutch, inside the Rabbitry here so that we can enclose it for winter and keep them warm. And then these guys are getting separated as well. They're starting to get a little bit aggressive towards each other because they're coming into maturity. So we want to get them separated so we don't have any injuries. Some other things that I need to do in here is I need to put that second level of wire on the bottom like I did with the first one here, so that my bunny's feet are protected. And then we need to put the poop chutes on as well. And then we can start buttoning it up for the winter. So we did end up changing a few small details about this Rabbitry in comparison to our first hutch setup that we did. Let me show you what we did that was a little bit different. So we did the poop chutes a little bit different the second time around. We extended them a little bit farther out this way than the first one. The first one was flush with this 2x4 here, but we were finding that the bunnies in the upper cages were peeing along this front edge, and it was dripping down into the cages below, and we wanted to prevent that. So we extended this, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches in front as well as in the back, so it's catching any urine that the bunnies are expelling in the front of the cage and protecting the bottom cages. Another thing that we did was instead of leaving this bottom part of the hutch open to the ground, we used the shorter poop chutes that we originally had up here, down here, so that we don't have any poop or urine inside the actual Rabbitry itself. It all goes to the outside of the Rabbitry, and that's really just going to help keep it clean in here, and that's going to make a huge difference for the winter time when this area is enclosed and there's a little less airflow. So we made it so all of the excrement goes to the outside of the Rabbitry, and we're going to set up this side the same exact way again, so we have a larger overhang on the upper section, a little bit shorter down here, and that way again, like I said, all of the excrement goes to the outside of the Rabbitry, and that'll just help keep it clean in here, keep it smelling nice, especially with it going to be closed up for the winter time. Because of this overhang here, I did do some readjustments of the cages. Before I had these cage doors folding down, the problem was they were resting on this overhang here and sticking out to like about here. which made it really hard to reach in and interact with the bunnies or pull them out of there if we needed to. So I did adjust them just a tiny bit, and the cages now open to the side. Hi, Eden. Sweetie. And this allows us to get into the cages just a little bit easier. I will be showing all of these cage details in an upcoming cage video. So if you have any questions or want to know anything about our cage setups, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to add them in my upcoming cage video for you guys. Hi, Ravina. So those were a couple of the things that we did a little bit differently than our first setup, and a little bit differently than Tealstone Homestead's original design. These aren't necessarily changes that you have to do if you want to build a setup like this. It's not something that you have to do, but I'm finding for us personally, these changes really made a difference in how our Rabbitry is functioning. And so I just felt like it was worth mentioning those few little tweaks and changes that we did, because sometimes you don't know until you have some experience with it. So I'm glad that we had the first Rabbitry setup and we got some hands-on experience with that original hutch, so that when we set up our permanent Rabbitry here, we were able to make those tweaks and changes as we were building it instead of having to do it later on down the road. So that's our Rabbitry, guys. I absolutely love it. I am so happy with how it turned out. I can't wait to get it finished and get the other cages done in here, and just have this project done and off of my list. But I'm super happy with the progress that we've made and how it's turned out so far. I really love this walkway idea and how it's allowed our rabbits to be a little bit more sheltered from the weather. It's allowed their food sources to be sheltered, and it's allowed me to come out and enjoy them even when it's raining, so I can interact with them and not have to worry about getting wet myself. So that's really nice. Yeah, I think that about covers it for today's video, guys. Like I said, if you have any questions about our Rabbitry setup, anything that we've done so far, or anything that we're going to be working on, I said I'm going to be having a cage video on how I built my cages coming up very soon for you guys. We're also going to have a video on how we are buttoning the Rabbitry up and winterizing it for the winter, because it is starting to get cold, and we actually have our first snow in the forecast here the first week of November, and so we got to hustle and get this buttoned up for the rabbits to stay nice and warm. So if you guys have any questions in regards to what we have done so far or what we're working on in the future, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. If you like our content, please hit the like on the way out and subscribe for future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to grow where you're planted.